What's going on, guys? This is another episode of DWE Radio, episode 13. I am your host, Miami the Great. It's another Saturday. Welcome. Don't forget that you always can call in. The link is on the Talk It Up page, also on my page. I'm pretty sure it will be out there somewhere. Hopefully, I have my DWE people putting it out there so you can find it. You can call in at any time. We would like to hear your thoughts about Raw, SmackDown. We're definitely going to get into some more talks about some more topics and more things. Things that Mavericks comments about the WWE shows, live shows that they don't do no more. We'll get into some talks about that if you missed that. We'll definitely talk about Roman Reigns being on Jimmy Fallon's show on the late night show. So we'll give our thoughts about what we thought about that, and also we'll give our thoughts about Raw, the whole outcome of what happened on Raw, what went down on Raw. On SmackDown, we'll definitely get into SmackDown. Pretty decent SmackDown, not too bad. SmackDown is really getting a little better. I wouldn't say it's not there yet. We'll see definitely where they're gonna go with this Randy story, but it is actually is getting better than it was at first. But if you're new here, please go ahead and hit that follow button on my page. That's on X, Miami the Great 305 on X. Also, please follow the Talk It Up podcast place on X. Go ahead and hit that follow. Hit the notification too. Don't forget to so you can know when we go live on each of the times we go live. We have many shows here at DWE. We have CJ's EVP recaps. We have After the Slam podcast interviews, and he does wrestling commentary. So you can get to see him do commentary. The first time ever we had someone to do that at DWE, so we're happy to have him on the team. So shouts out to him. Please give him a follow too, and the EVP a follow. And also, please follow my co-host, the Final Boss Baby. That's right, the Final Boss Baby on X too. Please give her a follow too on X. So just give everyone a follow if you can on X. Um, Please and thank you. And we'll make sure we try to follow you back and try to keep you updated on the things that are going on here at DWE. Um, Also, give us a subscribe. We're live now on YouTube. If you don't know, we're live on YouTube. The Talk It Up page is now mostly DWE content. But you're wondering where are all the other episodes? Because there's only like I think there's only like 5 episodes on there. You have to go to Spotify and catch the other episodes from 1 through 13. They are all on Spotify. Well, not 13 because we're doing 13, but from 1 through 12 is on Spotify. So go check that out, guys. Please follow us on Twitch too. We're live on Twitch. That's DWE Radio, the radio that's not on the radio. But guess what? We're on Twitch, we're on Spotify, and we're on YouTube. That's right, we're on YouTube. So shouts out here with my guest who I'm about to get ready to introduce to tell y'all to give her a follow. That's Final Boss Baby, Final Boss with two B's, one Y, CFO on X. Please give her a follow too. Like I said, we was going to go straight and get into it. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. We're going to go ahead and talk about the comments that Maverick has said. Final Boss, are you there? Mic check, mic check.
Yes, I am here. I'm here to let y'all
Okay.
know.
Hope you're having a good day. It's actually kind of not. It's pretty decent where I'm at. It's not too hot.
It's cold
64
here.
degrees. Yeah, it's like
So
64, so it's not too bad. I'm glad it's not raining
it's
because
cold here.
what I got, I need to go ahead and get it dropped off and get on to where I need to go. But shouts out to everyone who's joining us. But let's like I said, let's get into comments about. You want to just go ahead and get into these comments about what Maverick said about these WWE live shows and what his thoughts was about all the WWE live shows. Please give us a share of what you what he said on his podcast on
Yeah.
YouTube.
So yeah, for Maven. Now, for those who don't know Maven, Maven is a little bit of a past wrestler. He was active during the early 2000s. Maven was actually on Tough Enough. He actually won Tough Enough back in 2001. I believe he was a teacher, a middle school teacher, and then he, of course, went on. Well, back then it was sponsored by MTV on Tough Enough and won it back 2001. And for those who don't know, hey, here we go again with people from different backgrounds doing these competitions. Like we all know, what's her name? What's Ticker's wife name again?
Take away, dang, Jesus Christ, that's good.
No, Michelle
What is
McCool.
her
Okay,
freaking
yeah,
name? Michelle.
yeah.
Yeah, I could not
Michelle
think of her
McCool.
name.
Yeah, yeah. You know Michelle McCool, similar background. She was also a teacher. Kind of ran with that gimmick. And then later became part of Lay Cool and all those other stuff that she did. But that was part of her initial gimmick was her being a teacher. And now people always say that all the time. But yeah, Maven was a teacher, went over Tough Enough, won it back in 2021. 2021 was a very interesting time frame because you know what happened in back in '01. We got the F up out of here and we became WWE. But Maven actually had a pretty good career for someone that came from a series. He won the hardcore championship. And I know how many feels about the hardcore championship. I know he loves it. He actually won it three
Yeah, I
times.
do love it.
Uh,
I do like the yeah,
okay.
I do like the hardcore
Yeah. He
championship.
won it.
Yeah, I like it
He
when
won it.
Vince positioned to Mick Foley. Now that might be one of the things I do like about Mick Foley. I know you think I hate Mick Foley, but I do like when he gave him the hardcore championship. That is one thing I
Yeah,
do like about it. So
maybe won it three times, and he, he did that.
really, I
Yeah,
didn't I don't remember that.
yeah, yep, well, it's tough because that was right, like, '01, so that was right during this transition of WWF to WWE.
Hmm.
He did have a few with Batista, won that. And that's when he got like his biggest push. He also, but what he's mostly known for is that he did eliminate Undertaker during like a Royal Rumble. That was a little bit of like a fluke type of elimination where he got kicked up from the back and
Hmm.
he went over the rope. But they had like
Hmm.
a little feud for a little bit as well. But he only was there for 5 years. He won it back in '01, and was let go 2005. According to Maven, and I've watched many of his YouTubes, but according to Maven, he was let go by John Laurinaitis back in 2005 because according to him, he said Laurinaitis let him know that he wasn't progressing as good as he should, as what the company thought he was going to be. Which as far as his push, he had to push, but they talking about his ring work wasn't as great. It wasn't progressing in the speed that it should. And granted, I mean, we're looking at 5 years. Someone who came from a teacher background to a wrestling background in 5 years is tough. But that's why he was ultimately let go for. We've seen that happen with WWE many times. I know Dakota Kai had, reasons around that. I think it was Jakara. No, I didn't know. I think Dakota Kai had the issue of her being older, but Jakara Jackson had the whole, well, you're not progressing as you should. So that's usually a common line that WWE will use in releases. Same line they gave Maven back in the day. Um, Now, Maven he did other things. He did go to TNA for a little bit. He did something with Jeff Jarrett. I remember that. I think he faced Team 3D. And then he did some independent stuff. I don't know much about that. Um, he then went to YouTube, and his YouTube channel, for those who haven't seen, is very interesting. His YouTube channel is him really doing a unmasking of the business. Like, he shows how a lot of the moves were done. Like, in the videos I've seen him do, he did one where he showed how you take a thumbtack spot or bump, and he says, hey, they're all real thumbtacks. But if you land the right way, you really don't feel them kind of going to the skin. It just kind of hurts when you take them out. He talked about how much they made. And he talked about how much he made He worked at WWE. He also talks about how royalties work. He was the one who kind of really educated, who person who really I'm so tangled. He was the one who educated me on how royalties work. And he talked about how back then it was like 10%. Now it's like a smaller amount percent of royalties. He talked about things like that. So his channel is more about, yes, he's only there for 5 years, but he really has used that and has taken that 5 year experience to, hey, this is what I learned. This is kind of me uncovering the business, and it's on YouTube. So, and it's still around. So those who want to see, check him out. Um, he got the spotlight again recently because before John Laurinaitis was, part of the allegations, before that came to be a thing, he did say that John Laurinaitis actually had reached out to him to have him come back in, I think it was 2020, saying that, hey, we can do something with you. I don't know if it was going to be a wrestling role. I think it was going to be more of an announcer's role, but he actually turned it down because he's making more money doing other things outside of wrestling. And he said he kind of regrets doing that now, and also kind of fell through later on because of the pandemic. So it just kind of, went left. But the reason he's in spotlight right now, all these years later, is because he did say a statement similar to what Miami has said offline about, hey, house shows. He's always said that, hey, we're getting injuries because of house shows, the lack of house shows. TKO has this whole business mindset. It was a smart business decision, but it's saying, hey, we don't need to have all these house shows. We can make up the same money by just charging more for tickets, having less shows, less fatigue on the stars, have less expenses by renting out these arenas, you know, paying up our trucks, have all these extra stage hands, you know, all the other pieces that go into, having shows in different cities and different states. Hey, let's just have just your TV shows and of course your PLEs, and that's it. And we can just make up the loss by charging more for tickets, which on paper sounds like a genius idea. Um, to the wrestlers, sounds like a good idea because, as we know, with AEW, one of the things that people loved about AEW in the initial few years of it, being in operation back in, you know, 2019, 2020, was, hey, they could work a lesser schedule. A lot of the superstars that went from WWE to AEW were saying, hey, they love the schedule. Hey, Punk said it famously in the promo in Chicago. He said, hey, hey, once a week, twice a week, I can do that. So another thing with WWE, hey, don't go AEW. We'll offer you the same schedule. You're gonna do SmackDown, Raw if you're a big star. Really, probably is one of those two shows, and then the PLEs, and that's it. Unless you want to do appearances, sprinkle you maybe in a a Triple A if you want, maybe sprinkle you in NXT and things like that. But really, not so much, depending on your level that you are in the company. So, um, Maven is saying what you are saying, Miami, about the lack of house shows starting the show. You're saying due to injuries, but maybe Maven is saying it's looking very sluggish on TV, that it's starting to look more like a dance. It's starting to look not as smooth as it should because the practice is not there because they're just on TV. They're only having one, maybe two matches a week, and that's it. And if you're not constantly, doing things in between, having matches in between, kind of, practicing in between matches, and you're gonna get a little bit rusty. If you're not in the dungeon, because we've seen Liv Morgan, doing some things in the dungeon, looking very, very muscular, getting ready for her WrestleMania stuff. You're not doing that a few times a week, that can start to really show. You can't just run the ropes and be ready on Raw. Now those who've been doing it for a long time probably can, but for those who are newer to the business or those who are really legends in the making, it's tough for them because you're not conditioning the body. You're not having that practice. And that's what Maven was saying. Um, and he got a lot of heat behind it. He got a lot of heat behind it, um, because he said those comments, and they Maven hasn't been wrestling in a number of years, really since Independent. I don't know much about his Independent, but I know TNA was like in '07, I believe. So it's been, and we're in 2026 now, so it's been a long time. And Maven's 49, by the way, so he's up there in age. Um, and people say, hey, how can you say that when A, your career wasn't long, and B, you're not an active wrestler, and C, we're in a different time frame. All of which is true, 100% true. But at the same time, this is a guy who in 5 years really did kind of do a lot. If you really look at the accolades, facing the Undertaker, having a feud with Undertaker, beating Batista, hardcore champion, 3 times. He did have a match with Jericho. Um, and so he did do a lot in those 5 years for someone that came out of a reality show. Tough enough, we all know that's a Miz came from as well.
Yeah.
But he did a lot. Now, granted, his career wasn't long, but he has taken what he has learned in those 5 years, and what he's done in TNA, and what he has done in the independent scene, and is using that to really launch his own empire, which is him being a YouTuber, showing the highlights of what he did as a wrestler, and kind of giving us that insider's view, that peek behind the curtain, rather than doing other things like he could have done. And I family still on my timeline, hey, some people, they take their wrestling and do other things. We know now, because OnlyFans is still really new, that a lot of them are using the WWE name to build their OnlyFans. Famously like Mandy Rose, we know Eliza Blank has done it, amongst other stars. And you can say, well, that it's not combined, which it is not. But think about it. The reason why someone like Mandy Rose, yes, she's absolutely beautiful. Yes, she's a bodybuilder. Yes, she looks absolutely amazing. I think she's beautiful. But the reason why she has made her OnlyFans be so popular and made so much money, when she said, hey, she's a millionaire just from doing that alone, more than what she ever made WWE, is because of the name behind her. Everyone knows this is former, Mandy Rose. Everyone knows that it's a celebrity status. That's the name you're going behind it. Maven has done the same thing. We know, hey, we can verify. Hey, we've seen you on TV. We know you were there. You have his name behind you. Therefore, your YouTube is doing well because you have that behind your name. Same idea, same concept. I don't think he's wrong for saying it. Because he was a WWE star. He does know what it's like. He was there during a different era, however. We're talking about in the early 2000s. But if it's crazy how someone from a different background can see that, because remember, he fought during a different time period, Attitude Era, right when we're changing over from the Federation to entertainment. 5 years, only did 5 years in the company, is now 49 years old, and can see, and it's starting to look like a dance, which to me is crazy for someone that doesn't have years and years of experience wrestling. So, and if he's saying that as someone that hasn't wrestled in decades, for someone that is a retired wrestler watching it, I can only actually imagine what their viewpoints might be. And it might be correct because, hey, Miami has felt like, hey, we've had a lot of injuries, more so because of lack of practice due to, no house shows. And that's basically it I gotta say about the whole Maven thing. I don't think Maven was wrong for saying it, but I do kind of get the criticism, because again, he hasn't wrestled in quite some time. When he was a wrestler, it was some time ago. Some people probably weren't watching it back then, and it was such a short time frame. At least in WWE, before he went to TNA and did independent things. People might not even remember, might not find him as being a valuable source for that kind of information. Um, but how do you feel about Maven's comments? Do you feel that one, what he said is correct? And two, do you feel like he has a place, knowing about what you know now about his background, that does he have the right or the place to come out and say a statement like that?
To your to your last question, yes, because he's a wrestler. He has done it before. He knows how it is. He knows the ins and outs. So yes, he does. It's like that's like us telling Mark Henry or Bubba Ray or these guys that got podcasts, the Booker T's. They haven't wrestled in quite some time. Now, yes, they have had a longer career, but they haven't wrestled in quite some time. But we still go to their podcasts and listen to what they do because guess what? They have that knowledge to give to us
Yeah.
to
Hmm.
share that with us, and God bless them for that. They give us that. So hey, if they can do it, I feel like Maven has a place too. I mean, yes, his career was alone, but he still. I'm pretty sure the guy knows people and talks to people. He still probably talks to wrestlers. He still probably knows what's going on. I'm pretty sure people tell him, "Hey, man, this is this." And a perfect example, people can't say that and say, well, when Jay was getting his push, he was getting gassed out. That was one of the reasons why Jay came out and said, hey, most of the majority of the time, I was only doing 1 or 2 matches a week. That's why I was getting gassed out. I wasn't training right. I wasn't, preparing myself right. I wasn't nutritioning myself right. So things like that didn't matter. But wrestling is one of the sports because you can't say it's a
Wait,
sport.
did Jay say that? He said that's the reason why he was getting gassed out.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
thought,
yeah, yeah. No, no,
because
yeah,
from what
yeah,
I
yeah.
know, Jay had said that the reason why he gets so tired in the ring is because he's a tag team guy and he's used to kind of sharing that some break in between. It's like, hey, he'll carry the match, then he'll go on the, then they have Jimmy carry some. He's a tag team guy, so it's kind of like a shared um stamina, like where hey, you
Oh,
don't
they
have to
wasn't doing
carry
that
the
many
whole match.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was like, well, that was one reason, but he was saying too, when they put him by
Mm.
himself, they didn't give him enough like matches. I think if they would have did it like back in the day, I think it would have not been that way. He said that because he was maybe thinking that because that was part of the reason, but I guess later on down the line, he was like, hey, you know, I was only having 1 or 2 matches, man. I wasn't having that many matches. So
Mm.
it could be part of the reason I got gassed out. But my whole thing is that wrestling is such a unique sport because you might what they say it is some type of sport. No matter if it's
It is a sport.
AEW, no matter if it's AEW, TNA, RH, whoever it is, AA or TNA or New Japan. It's the only sport where you have to get injured to have that off time. So you know what I'm saying? But it's the reason why is because these people come in, they do what they need to do to feed their families. So Maven has a great point with everything he said. I do agree with it. And like you said, the reason why I said the reason may be because they don't have that many shows um, in WWE, and why people are getting injured is because they don't have that many shows. And I was like, well, I just remember a time where they used to have so many house shows back when we might would say the Vince era because it was the Vince era where we didn't get that many people getting injured, and now you are. It just I was just like maybe it's that or maybe not. I was just thinking maybe I'm wrong because like I
Well,
said I never wrestled before, but I was just like it just
here's
seems that way.
here's this question: uh, for WWE, like I said during that whole spiel, there is, TKO. This is part of business model. Like, hey, why do more, for less? We can just kind of do less for more, which in hindsight really means,
Well,
hey, we can have less shows, just charge more for the
hmm
shows that we do have, and kind of make up that balance. But it's but that's one piece of it. But we're also in like this weird place in WWE is like, can we really do it? Because the people we have right now, a lot of them are going to be are your future Hall of Famers where, hey, they're on kind of a tight schedule regardless. So would that model of having all these house shows really work in today's WWE about, where we are with superstars we have now? Like we see Punk, every Monday, but you think Punk be able to go around and be on there, Mondays and
Mhm.
traveling back and forth with all these house shows? Do you think Punk would have really agreed to all that? I don't know. Because one of the things that Punk said during his famous promo when he came back to wrestling for AEW in Chicago was he said, "Hey, one day a week, I can do that," and he named all the stars he wants to work with. So what you would have gotten him for someone, like Seth Rollins and like Becky Lynch. Yeah, they were doing it before, but now with the age that they are now, and now with their child getting older, could they do it? Same thing with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, of course, now has two children, and he's good age now, but could he do it? As you see, we don't see Brandy and his dog around anymore. How he used to, but could he, as far as bringing them to shows, but could he, would he want to work with WWE as long as he did with that kind of schedule? AJ Lee, of course, a returning star back. Same question. The Bella Twins, returning stars back. Same question. Charlotte Flair, who, again, she was gone due to injury, but now with the age and how long she's been there, and now, she probably she has a good amount of years and probably financial under her belt now. Would she want to, after she got done with her knee injury, come back and run a hard schedule like that? Look at all your up and comers where we have couples now, you know, um, Lash and Trick Williams, where, hey, yeah, they're a couple, but are they gonna have time to do, regular things outside WWE, being both in the industry? Do they really want to stay as long as they did? Because hey, there's a high chance, like, hey, one of them might say, I want to kind of stay home, and kind of, be the wife, or you can stay home and be the husband, or, vice versa. Would they both want to continue to be full time, on this journey together for years and years and years? Do you feel, I feel like, we were back to that old model, yeah, we would have superstars, but I feel like a lot of them wouldn't be signing contracts for as long as they would, because they started to get that road fatigue. A lot of them are doing other things outside of WWE, doing the appearances. Cody, as we know, Cody is known for doing appearances everywhere and doing podcasts and helping Benny Rose with her yoga studio, and doing things like that. Could you really do that with a demanding schedule like that? So that's also a question now I start to wonder, that if they were to go back and start doing house shows, start having WWE stars work 5 times a week minimum, because hey, we don't know if you want to have crossovers to AAA, crossovers to NXT, and ID, if they're still doing that, I don't know, no answer. LFG, I don't know, whatever. But do are these stars capable of doing it? And if the ones that are capable, do they want to continue to do something like that? That is the question where we're at now in WWE, where we have people that are older, at the tail end of their career, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, or we have new, up and comers that are newer to the business, like your Lash, like your Stephanies, like your Roxannes that are newer call ups, are they gonna be used to this whole new regime where, oh, we're going back to doing house shows, gonna be on the road a lot, and you're like, oh, well, I didn't really sign up for that. I ain't trying to know that coming in. I don't know if this is really for me. You think that might,
Well,
do you think that'll be an issue? Miami.
Yes, it will be because
Mhm.
they have got so used to the format now. I think it's a little too late to do it now. I just feel like that's just me. I feel like that's maybe be one of the key reasons. It could not be. I mean, I could be wrong, but it's just I feel like that's the key reason of why they're doing it. Now you were saying something about you named a lot of big stars. I would keep the big stars, final balls, and I just want to hear your thoughts on the schedule that we're doing now. I would not do my big stars because guess what? That's drawing in. That's supposed to be so-called drawing in your money. Your Roman Reigns, your Drew McIntyres, your Punks, your AJ Styles. I mean not AJ Styles, AJ Lee, your Seth Rollins, your Becky's, your I would say I said Drew, Cody, maybe Jay and them. It all depends on how they do them. But I would still have them at a few house shows here and there because I think people would still want to go see them. You know, don't do too many. I don't think you got to bring in as much as you had at first, but do some. One, you that's the extra money on the side because you got these high tickets. You can maybe put them at a little lower and not have that many stars there. You know, yes, you got main event. And I'm guessing that that's just a show that comes on that's
Well,
recorded.
it's not about I never talked about how people didn't want to see him. That was not nothing I said on this in the previous one. People are going to want to see him. And that's why people go to meet and greets. Is the fact it's if the stars are willing to go ahead and do all these extra dates and travel
I,
in, basically live it out of a suitcase.
Yeah, I feel like the new one should. I mean, hey, the
Mhm.
old ones, these old Hall of Famers, the legends, the vets have paid the way to
Well,
do it. Now, I'm not saying
and
not
this
do.
is
I'm not
gonna
now. I'm not saying do
Well,
so
that
many as
was
you
a
did.
different,
They did.
but that was a different time frame. The other thing
Yeah,
is,
yeah, yeah,
hey, and
yeah,
this is the
yeah.
key because we're gonna wrap up, and I want you to kind of talk about the whole Roman Tonight show that you know from it, and then we'll go into the main show. But one thing that came up when the feud between Rhea and Jay was hot. Now it's already dead. Now I don't know what it's dead. But when we saw them go back and forwards on social media, one of the things that came up, according to Piper Nivens, was our injury, serious neck
Hmm.
injury, is that Jade did not want to work the holiday tour. That was one of the things that came up. Now there's now, according to what was said, was WWE was saying, "Hey, Jade is not on the holiday tour because she was injured." Piper Nivens was saying, "Nope, she was not injured. She still want to work the holiday tour." According to Jade, she said that she actually was injured. So we don't know which one of that is actually true. But according to Piper Nivens, Jade did not want to work the holiday tour.
Hmm.
And then here we go. That's a newer star because she's only been wrestling for what about 5 6 years now. This is a newer talent who is not used to to having that grueling schedule. Because remember, she came from where? From AEW that had this lighter schedule. So she came into wrestling on this lighter schedule. She's going into WWE during the era where it's the same lighter schedule. Holiday Tour came up. If it is true, this is alleged now. If it is true, Holiday Tour comes up and she didn't want to be part of that tour. For what reason? Not quite sure, but she didn't want to be part of that tour. Maybe because it was grueling. I don't know. We all know Jay has a husband. So that we don't know.
And and a child too. So,
I
but
didn't know that, but yeah.
yeah. So I mean that's up there with the. I mean, because they are pushing her like a big star. So and she's a champion, so I can understand that. But that's now. But I mean, Rhea has been there for a while. Now if that was the case, cool. You know, Rhea has put in her time, put in her work to do that. So hey, I don't mind it. I mean, it is a lot of shows they have to do when they do the tour. I know they do it overseas. So that kind of makes sense. You don't want to probably be away from your family sometimes.
Yeah, because
They do
really,
it. So
Because really,
that
when they do the
makes
holiday tour, I mean, before they would do the holiday tour and they would do the road to WrestleMania, which they still do. But other than that, you know,
hmm
they don't really have the dates like that. And one of my favorite things to
yeah.
go to during the Vince McMahon era was to go to the WrestleMania, well, Road to WrestleMania tour. That was like one of my
hmm
favorite thing to do. One of my favorite things to go because you get nice house shows, you get them at small venues, small local arenas. They was pretty much coming to almost every single state or city nearby. It's a real intimate thing. Of course, none of the storylines or anything kind of transferring to TV. So that's one of the downfalls. That was one of the downfalls we also had with house shows. That hey, the things that happen in the house shows they don't reflect what happens on TV. It's like it doesn't exist. Different characters, you also will see. Um, I remember when I had saw it, AJ Styles, of course he had that whole, feud with John Cena, beat up John Cena. He was SmackDown champion, maybe champion on SmackDown. But when we saw him at house shows, he was doing tag team matches with the New Day and doing things like that. It was a different character, but you'll never see that on TV because that's the TV style characters that they have for wrestlers. Those storylines don't play into house shows. Same thing like dark matches. Same thing right now. Dark matches. Dark matches. They don't play a role into actual TV stories. So a win or loss doesn't play a role. Now here's where it gets funky. Is because hey, we all talked about how when Cody was champion first time, he didn't have a lot of matches to defend his title. Cody fans, shouts out to CJ, the EVP of DWE, the Golden Boy. Um, he will argue, or they will argue, Cody fans will argue, that's not true. While he only had like, I think it was like 8 or 9 TV matches with the title, he actually had 50 matches, but they were non-TV matches.
hmm
So there was that, and now we're looking at like, does that really count? For WWE, and not really. But I mean, I guess it kind of does, kind of doesn't. Um, we also have pieces kind, like that. Would we have gotten more Cody matches? If they didn't have all these house shows and dark matches, he was doing a lot of dark matches as well. And dark matches was really there to kind of give the fans a little bit extra, give you a little extra, few minutes, because you don't want to go home because you pay all your money to go see. Or sometimes they put them in the very beginning, same thing. Um, and so, I mean, that's where I am with that. I don't know if you have any last statements about house shows and Maven, or if you want to talk about Roman being on the Tonight Show.
Yeah, we can go ahead and I think we spent a little time in there. We
Okay.
got a few people in here. We can go ahead and just trans to the Roman on Jimmy Fallon. Then we'll get into the main show for today. Like I say, welcome everyone to the DWE radio, the radio that's not on the radio, but it is on YouTube, Spotify, and Twitch. But let's get into it. We Roman was on Jimmy Fallon this week. Final Boss. He was on Jimmy Fallon. They was basically just talking about. I know the fans know that he's in Street Fighter. Final Boss. I don't know if you know that or not. They was talking about
Yeah, I
him in
knew about
Street
that.
Fighter. They was talking about the actor that played Aquaman, who looks like I call Roman twin because him and Roman almost do favor each other a little bit. Say he was really happy to see him, was excited to meet him and stuff, and say he actually could be a wrestler if he was ever a wrestler in WWE, which he is kind of pretty big. He has to get in shape for all those roles that he do because he has played an action hero
Well,
before.
that's cause Aquaman, the
Yeah,
character, the big guy.
yeah, it's pretty big. So But they was talking about that. They asked him about Zeros, as I don't know if fans know. Zeros did win a award. I think it was like one of the Academy Awards, or it was I think it was a certain award. I can't really remember. And they was asking him about that. He was like, it was really weird because it's a voiceover, and he was saying that the only line he had was the Zero line. And he was like, he always suspect feedback because he's a wrestler, so they do feed off the crowd. And he was like, he was giving out the lines that he said it so many different ways, and so many different phrases that he was like, looking at the people who was on. I guess they was like on like a little iPad or whatever. And he was like, he was saying, but they was not giving the feedback. So he was like, he thought he was doing so bad that they wasn't gonna put it on there or bring him back. And he said they told him he was actually doing good. So that was pretty cool that get that insight of his thoughts about how he felt about Zebros and stuff. Because we all know that I think that was the one of the promos that him and Punk did earlier when this feud started. And he actually did a promo on Punk on this show for Final Boss. But it was a great interview. I think if y'all do want to go see it, it still is available on Jimmy Fallon's X or YouTube. Go check it out. It's a very great interview from Roman Reigns. He has been on Jimmy Fallon um, back to back years, except 2025 is the only year he's ever missed being on Jimmy Fallon Final Boss. That's a fun fact for those who didn't know about it. So other than that, no, it was a great interview. Liked him. Roman looked good.
I thought he
La-
called out Punk in that interview.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about other stuff?
No, no, he did. He did. No, I said he did a promo on Punk. I said he did promo on Punk. Did you hear that part? Or did you not hear me? Did you hear
No.
me, Final Boss?
I mostly heard you talking about Street Fighter and Aquaman. So, but okay.
No, 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 no. I was saying, yeah, he cut a promo. I don't know if you heard that part. Maybe it cut out. Did it cut out? Can
I
you
don't
hear me,
know,
Final
but
Boss?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
No, no, I was saying yeah, he did. I said yeah, he did. He cut a promo on
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk, on
Mm-hmm.
there. Just like a regular promo about Punk in there. Main event, he did talk about WrestleMania and stuff. Calling Punk old like he did on the thing, and I like that Punk Roman did keep a kayfabe on here. But it was a great interview. Like I say, great interview. If y'all guys want to go check it out, go check it out. But I loved it. I loved it, and did watch it, and then I'll watch it probably a couple more times. That's just my take. I know you probably ain't got no comments about it because you don't like watching interviews, Final Ball, for some reason.
Nope. Well, unless the Rock is on there, but I'm not really. I'm not really into. I'm not really an interview person. For those who don't know, I mean that's why we don't have interviews on DW radio. Not now. Granted, now I want to make this very clear now, because I know you know people listen. But hey, if you're a wrestler and you're interested in being on the show, please hit us up. But with that being said, um, I'm not a big interview fan. It's just I'm not the Undertaker where, hey, don't expose the business. I mean, that's not the reason why. It's just not something that I just find joy in really watching. And that's what makes WWE so different from the others. Like some people like do interviews. Not saying we're not open to do them. Like hey, if you want to be on a show, cool. But I'm not the kind of person that wants to go out and find interviews and listen to someone talk as a yeah, I like hearing someone's story, their background about where they start and how they became who they are and things like that. But at the same time, it's like, you know, could you not read that in the article? Like, so I mean, so that's how I look at it. So I don't really watch interviews. But I do get excited around WrestleMania season time, like right now, because that's when you start having your big stars, your main eventers like Roman, like Cody. You start to see them in other elements. You start seeing them go to like the Tonight Show and see them do ESPN and see them do other things. Um, we got a lot of John Cena last year because we know it was gonna be John Cena's last WrestleMania. So we saw him around a lot. And speaking of interviews and things, I think we got to mention this, but hey, you know, Cody was supposed to do an interview on Pat McAfee's show and it got canceled it was reported that it was canceled due to a scheduling conflict, which to me was very odd because WWE did promote the interview between him and Pat McAfee, and then to hear, hey, he's not going to do it the day of, was kind of odd. Miami thinks that it's going to be a term for Cody. I'm like, I don't think it has nothing to do with the character. I think something that actually just came up and he couldn't do it. Do you still feel like it's a heel turn for Cody, or you think something just came up and he couldn't do it?
You talking about for Cody?
Yeah, how Cody had to cancel the Pat McAfee interview.
Can you hear me, fine, boss?
Yes, I said how Cody had to cancel
weird.
the Pat McAfee.
Yeah, it was weird because I know Monday he's supposed to be on Busted Open. And I just found that weird. At first I was like, well, maybe this is sort of maybe going to play into the character that he was, but he showed up yesterday on this show on SmackDown, so now I don't think that no more. But at first I thought it was Fun Boss. I thought it was going to lead to at least something. But now I'm thinking like maybe he just was really busy. Something did come up because they said something did come up and he got busy. That's why he didn't come on there. So maybe it was he got busy. It's just really shocking that it happened like that and the way it happened. At first I thought it was going to lead to something because Pat does
Pat McAfee, yeah, he does kind of play into
WWE, but
yeah.
I hopped on the laptop, y'all. So shouts out the inside of mine if y'all seen it for a couple minutes. But I mean, I feel like we'll have to see what goes down. They didn't talk about they did talk about when Roman and Cody kind of requested not to be stories at first. He did request it. Then you got one source saying he didn't request it. I don't know. Maybe they're just doing it because maybe somewhere down the line we're going to probably get Cody versus Roman again. Maybe it could be some kayfabe thing, but we'll definitely have to see. But let's go ahead and let's get into some WWE. We'll start off with Raw. Actually, Raw did kick off Final Boss with Becky Lynch, the man, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch actually had a great promo here, Final Boss. I mean, maybe one of the best promos in a while from her. I know you said you liked it. When we text each other, you was like, "Hey, this Becky did." Really good.
It was definitely one of my. Yeah, it was definitely one of my favorites. I really liked the line where she said, "Oh, you know what happened? I like there's like a few lines I liked. I like when she said, "Hey, I left for 10 months. You know, well, you left for 10 years. You cheer her, but she left you for over, a decade, but you guys boo me. I left because I had did everything. You guys are frustrated with me. So I went home to my family, to my lovely husband and my beautiful daughter. Um, you know, not exact quotes, but similar to what I'm saying. She also had that line where she said, JJ Lee, oh, what happened the last time you were at a WrestleMania match? We had a WrestleMania match, and then on Raw, what did you do? You gave your resignation notice, and you left. So I really liked that. I thought this was my favorite promo. Yeah, it was my favorite promo throughout this whole feud between her and AJ. Now, one thing I'm gonna say, does it make me more excited to see Becky versus AJ Lee? No, I don't have any more interest than what I did the previous week, but I did like this promo by Becky. I thought it was delivered very, very well. I like her being just real fired up. I like her being the fire up Becky versus this kind of like weird, goofy, but also heelish Becky. I like her being this more amped up version of Becky. Um, so yeah, I really enjoyed this promo buyer. It's probably my favorite
Yeah,
of the feud thus far. Are we gonna get it again next week? Not quite sure. But I don't know how you can even follow up, from this because it was that good.
yeah. I think it was a great promo too. Final probably it's up there with me with the one she did with Paul back in the back. If you ask me, I liked it. I still have AJ Lee winning. If I'm not mistaken, this will be their third time. I think facing. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. They'll face each other. AJ Lee and Becky have faced each other so many times. I wouldn't be surprised. This is the fourth time they're finna get ready to take on each other. But yeah. Am I excited? I'm like you. Not really. Because they've tugged on each other so long, but it is picking up. Maybe, like I said, we still have 3 more weeks final balls. We still got to see what's going to go on. Um, and I do like that now AJ Lee is doing a lot of more appearances. I know that we're on our way to road to WrestleMania. We're actually getting all of our stars more than we ever did. And man, I think we're going to miss these times because once Mania is over with, are we going to still get this? I don't think so, Final Boss. That's just me because we know how it gets. But hopefully we still can because it's really kind of getting back to that decent. I wouldn't say good, but decent program, especially on Raw. It's Raw is the
When
best show.
decent, it should be fun.
SmackDown is
It should be amazing. We're 4 weeks from WrestleMania.
well, we're 3 weeks. But see, the only for me, and this is no disrespect to Jimmy J or the Vision, but the most story I'm mostly invested in is over Femi and Brock Lesnar and the Punk and Roman because I want to know what's going on with Jimmy and Jay with Roman. They're still a part of this story. So is this something going to happen? I think that's just my thoughts. Those are like maybe my three biggest things off the top of my mind that I do like. Now the Becky and AJ, it's okay, but it's not something I'm gonna be excited for. You know what I'm saying? As we go into this WrestleMania. Now, like I say, we got 3 weeks. It could heat up. We don't
Mm.
know yet.
Hmm.
So that's just something that I feel Final Boss. But yeah, like you said, yeah, it was a great promo. I like the way AJ Lee did come out to the crowd and stuff. So hey, it was great showing of her as we got into it. But we'll have to see. And speaking of over Femi and Brock, that was the next thing that happened too, because Paul Heyman came out, did his promo, as saying he was still the advocate of Brock Lesnar. And you said you like Brock Lesnar's new shirt. You said he loves making shirts like that. We all remember the Suplex
Yeah.
City
Yep.
shirt. And now he has the new shirt now. And Paul did a great job as he normally does, hyping up the show. I think Paul made a mistake of saying that Brock was in the main event because
Well,
we know he's not
well,
going to be in the
well,
main
well, 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 hold on now because that shirt is a great shirt. Well, his shirt is actually very clever, right? Like, because you all heard the term, fuck around and find out. Well, his is like fuck around and you get it at five. So I love his shirt, man. I think it's so Brock Lesnar. It's so him. It reminds me of, yes, Suplex City, bitch. I mean, he loves kind of these weird slogans like that, and I think it's great. But yeah, go ahead, Miami.
Nah, but yeah, he came out and he did the promo. He did cut the promo about when Brock beat the Undertaker. He beat Rock at a young age, which Brock was very young when he beat the Rock. Just listen off all the people that Brock Lesnar has beat at WrestleManias, which what? That was okay. The only reason why he beat the Rock because the Rock started going. That's when he was going into Hollywood. We all know that. And you probably didn't like the Rock then because he wasn't bald headed yet now. So why are you up here acting like you like the Rock then? You said you didn't like the Rock until you got
it
bald.
don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter.
No, don't lie like that. Don't lie like that now. But like I say, Brock Lesnar has a great impeccable resume on him. And out comes Obafemi, final balls the crowd. You know, they're doing the chant, and he once again Brock tries to attack him first. Oba gets him once up him, clothesline over the rope, and gets him again. You might be right, final boss. There's a few feuds that are going into Mania where a lot of people are getting the one up, and it's starting to worry me like, is this person going to lose? And Oba could be that one person as we go into their match. Now, am I excited for it? Yes, I think this could be up there where if it comes out good, this could put on the trajectory for Obafemi a great job if they do it the right way, and they have to book them after this the right way. It's up to WWE, but I do feel like this could be one of those matches. If you ask me, final boss.
Yeah, I liked when Oba, clobbered Brock and sent him over the top rope. I really liked the look on Brock's face. He had the whole disbelief. It's really showing the whole, you know, can he slay the beast type of vibes to me. Um, and I think Brock is really showing that character. He's
Mm-hmm.
really playing it off where he's just shocked that Oba is manhandling him because remember he did get Oba Femi up for the F5 and Oba countered that, pushed him against the ropes and then knocked him over over the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
You had Paul Heyman kind of run over to the side and like oh my god kind of go up to him. So I really like that. I also like, of course, like he said, the Paul Heyman work. He mentioned all the people he beat that couldn't beat Brock Lesnar. And what that really does is that really puts over Femi over if he does win at Mania because he just listed a whole bunch of the greats that couldn't beat Brock. He even talked about how he ended the streak. Um, he talked about
Yeah.
John Cena. He talked about, so he
Mm-hmm.
definitely basically went down Brock Lesnar's resume as you're supposed to build him up to be the beast incarnate. And then we have, the ruler, which is Obafemi, came out, full entrance. So we have the ruler versus the beast incarnate, which on paper, sounds great. Um, and I do feel a little bit more excited with the match after seeing everything happen on Monday, especially with Paul Heyman's work, because I was not excited for it. But now seeing the work that Paul Heyman has done, seeing how he was manhandled by Oba and the look on Brock Lesnar's face, I'm like, wow, they really are gonna sell this to be a pretty big thing. So I'm kind of excited to see it now. I think it's gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna be a long match. I think we're gonna see a lot of power moves in there, and it's probably gonna be pretty brutal. So that's going to be kind of fun to watch. I believe it's going to go. Hey, you're going to have Oba, and Brock go at it, but when they go at it, you're going to see that Brock can't like he can't put him down. He'll just keep countering and countering and countering. I think that'll be the whole story of the match. Which I like matches like that. I like matches where we have commentary say, "What is it going to take? What is it going to take?" I like matches that kind of have the element to it.
Yeah. 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 Almost down there. Um, almost he gets closer to the three and he kicks out every time. I like him too. Yeah, it's the suspense. Like, oh man, they really building this up. Um, and like I said, they finally did put Royce Keys on the website. He's actually on the roster now. Finally, so and that's it. I really say if they're going to pull the trigger, final boss with Oba, You can do a lot of matches with him. You still have Braun Breaker coming back real soon. I know they were still high on him. I'm pretty sure they're going to probably push him. You maybe could do something. I mean, I know everybody wants Gunther to do this gimmick where he keeps retiring people, but I don't think that that's just the only matches he got to do. You can give him regular matches WWE. You could do something with Gunther. I think that would be great for Gunther because I think a lot of people ask for that match for Gunther to take on someone who's a bigger person who, if he chops him, the person, shove is off. I think that's something that a lot of people have asked for. You got, like I said, Power. We know him as Powerhouse Hobbs, but now he's yeah, he knows as Powerhouse Hobbs. So, but I, it's a lot of
Oh,
people
you
they
wait,
can do
you, wait,
with
you
him.
mean
I
he's
think it's
known
just
as
the way
Royce
they
Keys
book
now?
him.
You mean?
Rush Keys, yeah, I could. I always gonna. He always gonna be Powerhouse Hobbs to me because he's. I mean, no matter what, they might as well just let him keep the name. I don't know why, because I mean, but I know why he went with Royce Keys. I mean, no disrespect to him, but he's always a Powerhouse Hobbs to me because that's who I know him as. He's been that for so long. But let's go ahead. Move on to the next thing. Like I say, and oh yeah, I meant to say this will be a night one match final boss. They will do night one. So for those who are wondering, I know they will be on the night one card. Unless in WWE keeps switching it up because they keep switching these colors up. From 1 minute they want you on night one, then next minute they want you on night
And
two.
then,
So who
and speaking
knows?
of night one, night two, I don't know if you've seen, but WWE put out a poster saying, "Hey, WrestleMania is stacked." I'm like, is it stacked? Is it really stacked? Is it? I
Um,
mean,
um, is it okay? Well, this is the question: is it better than last
mhm.
year? I think that's the question, and
Ooh.
I know that's an
Oh.
unfair question. I know that's an unfair question because I know we got to be a little biased, but I have to be truthful. The car is better than last year. Let's just be real. It's a little better
Mm.
than last year to me because think about it. The kickoff match was Gunther versus Jay Uso last year. Now now don't get me wrong, I loved the Seth and Punk and Roman match. I loved it because look what we had got out of it. We got the start of the vision. Now, another person I never guessed who would have teamed with Paul Heyman was my boy Roman Reigns, but it happened. So, you know, yes, we did get a decent match. I mean, you still got people saying that Charlotte and the Tiffany match wasn't that good last year, but I mean, God, I mean, what are we gonna get when Jade and Rhea gets out there? Now they did do pretty good yesterday with some of the stuff they did. They moved, they flowed good. I think it's gonna be probably a pretty decent match, Final Boss, and that's a shock to me. After seeing what I saw yesterday, I was like, okay, this might be pretty good. You got Liv and Seth Vaquer. I'm pretty sure they're going to do pretty good. Next year we got Jacob versus Drew, which is going to be an unsanctioned match. You got Brock versus Obafemi, and you got Roman versus Punk, and now you got Cody versus Randy, which Randy's doing a great job being a
And we
heel.
also got Sami
His
Zayn
car,
versus Trick
his
Williams now.
We're going to get into that real later. I'm going to give my thoughts about that
Hmm.
for the United States title,
Hmm.
which is crazy. But I feel like Final Boss, and this is just me being honest because I have to be truthful. This car is pretty decent from last year. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But from last year, this car is actually better than it was last year. I mean, yeah, last year. I mean, what's your thoughts?
I mean, last year's card, a lot of us like, we don't know about how WrestleMania was going to look for last year. we all kind of had hopes that they were going to have this really big last angle at the end, with The Rock and Cena and Cody and everything. But of course, we didn't get that. We just got Travis Scott coming out. So going in, we were really kind of unsure, just because of that. Um, uh, yeah, on paper, I mean, we wanted to see Charlotte and Tiffany. We really wanted that. By the time they did it, it kind of lost his luster. And of course, we got the match, and it wasn't. It was probably one of Charlotte's worst matches. But before then, we did want those two to have an encounter. We couldn't wait to see Tiffany versus Charlotte at one point in time. So it makes sense. We got the whole thing with the promise, right? It was with Seth and Roman and Punk and Heyman. I thought that story was really, really great. That was a great story going in. Um, we also of course got, what we're gonna be seeing as last WrestleMania. So with that being said, those were great. Now for this card, really excited to see, Randy Orton, you know, get this last good run. Um and then go back to the original like '09 character, and his work is really good. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. Super excited to see, where this whole stuff goes with Punk and Randy and Roman Reigns. As far as for the women matches, I mean, I'm not too big on the bill of Liv and Stephanie. I don't think it. I mean they're building it, but it's not hitting for me. But I guess on paper it looks great because people really love Stephanie Vaquer. A lot of people really love Liv. So on paper, really, really looks good. They're both gonna pop for Liv and pop for um with Stephanie. Also, same thing with Rhea and Jade. A lot of people, love Jade. A lot of people love Rhea Ripley a lot. So I think that's going to be a big pop. And of course, AJ Lee, people are going to go crazy for AJ Lee. She's always a good pop most of the time. And to see her at WrestleMania, which we haven't seen her at WrestleMania in what, 10, 11 years now. It's also going to be a big pop. So on paper, this
Yeah.
car is also pretty good on paper. Now, is the fuse building to what it need to be? We're kind of in the process of doing that right now, but on paper, it sounds like it's a gold car. If you really think about it, you got all your wannabe acts are there. We want to see Punk, you want to see Roman, you want to see. I assume Seth will have a match at WrestleMania. Not quite sure. We want to see Brock, we want to see Oba, we want to see Trick. We want to see AJ Lee. We want to see Jay. You want to see Liv. Um, you want to see Stephanie. So all of your must sees are technically on the card. So, I don't know about the Usos. They don't have a match on there yet, but I'm pretty sure they'll be there because they'll be part of some. They're part of the story with Roman and Punk. Um, it's reported that a lot of people believe that they're gonna lose the titles on Monday. But I believe they will be there in some capacity. So just the star power on paper really is there. So yeah.
Yeah, we definitely have to see what goes on with that final boss. Like I said, I feel like it's a better card, but I mean we'll have to see. On paper it looks decent. But speaking of Usos, you brought them up. They actually had a tag team match this coming week. I mean this Monday, and they have another tag team match against the Vision. But this match actually happened. It actually ended in a DQ. LA Knight did get involved because they was trying to cheat. You had Logan Paul came out trying to do the brass knuckles and hit Jimmy with him, and they seen it. But Jay actually got the brass knuckles and hit Logan with him, and then they got disqualified. And lately, like I said, and this is kind of I think another question when we get to our last topic for Raw is I think the reason why I asked will Jay be the one to cause their brothers the titles because the way Jay has been acting. We do know Monday they will have a show, a tag matches in Madison Square Garden. They love trying to do these big shows in Madison Square Garden. They love hyping them up. We know what happened last time when we was in Madison Square
Well, that's
Garden.
because the garden is very sacred to
Yeah, 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 yeah.
WWE, especially the events and everything. So there's that.
hmm Yeah, and like I said, I just think maybe there's probably something maybe going to happen where from what I know now, because I thought Naomi was about to get ready to have her child soon, but it won't be no time soon. So now, at first, I was like, yeah, they probably drop it because Jimmy might needs to go spend time with Naomi. But no, I think something else is probably going to happen weird, front of balls, and this is where you're going to get your match between the Usos and the Vision for WrestleMania. Actually, I have the Vision actually winning at WrestleMania, final boss against the Usos whatever night they're going to be on. I'm pretty sure they'll probably be on night one, maybe. Most of the Bloodline are on night two. But I think they're actually going to be the first one on night one because I think Jay and Jimmy are going to have a significant role for night two. That's just my thoughts, Final Boss. But do you think that Jay causes them the title on Monday, or do you think that they'll just hold off on WrestleMania and something weird will happen at WrestleMania where the Usos drop the title? Or do you think the outcome come out different?
I think they're gonna lose the titles on Monday. I think it's gonna kind of enhance the whole dynamic of Jimmy and Jay, kind of playing to Roman. I have a theory, about Roman. I know we haven't gotten there yet, even though we need to be there because we're at 525. But yeah, I think they're gonna lose it on Monday, and I think it'll play really into the element of where they're going with really the relationship between the Usos and Roman. I think it's playing a role into that. And if they do
Yeah, it
that,
could.
I'm excited for that. But I think it is.
Yeah. Um, let's get one more thing. I know you saying it was very old school. As last time we seen stuff like this is when the Stone Colds and stuff got arrested. It's a very old school as booking here, but Seth Rollins get arrested. But Paul Heyman actually came out, did a promo was saying that hey he had did a restraining order on Seth because Seth keeps attacking him, but he baited him out there, and then he cut this promo was saying that um he needs to go ahead and just give Seth his wife, his kids, and things like that. Seth snapped, and when Seth got in, they put Seth in these handcuffs and took him in the back. But Seth was actually laughing. I thought here, Final Boss, that maybe Breaker was going to come back because the way it happened at first, Paul kept asking Seth to come out. He wasn't coming out at first. I thought, well, maybe he's going to attack him again. But it just took him quite some time to come out. Then he came out. Then this whole segment happened. I like it. Like I said, I love it when they do these
Well,
type of
I
ads
well
for
I like the
wrestling.
segment because it. Yes, you're right. You had Paul Heyman really bait Seth Rollins out. Um, and say, hey, sometimes a man has to do what a man has to do. And he kind of holds his arms out and inviting Seth to come down there because he's saying, hey, I don't have Braun Breaker, Brock Lesnar's tied up with other things. It's just me, just me, Oos. So, he said, man has to do what man has to do.
Basically,
And he has it, and he has his arms out and just ready to get beat down. Um, and then as soon as Seth comes out, we have PD come out there and arrest him. And that's when you have Paul Heyman really talking crap on the mic, saying, "Yeah, my family. This how my family. We we're snitches, and I'm gonna you're gonna be facing charges." And he took shots about how Seth is going around the locker room, and it was actually really really good. Of course, we got Seth kind of break away from PD and run back to the ring to attack Paul. So all that stuff was really, really good. I think Paul Heyman's work was super great. I think the element of surprise also was there because when I saw him inviting Seth down, I was like, well, where are they gonna go with this? Is he gonna get a beat down? Is he gonna fight back? Someone gonna come? But nope, it was this weird thing where PD is coming down to get Seth Rollins. So it was just it was interesting, and I really liked it. I guess we're done with the idea of the masked men. I guess that's in the trash. I guess now. Um, even
Thank you,
though
WWE,
Seth,
if y'all was listening to DW
but the crazy
Radio.
thing is
Thank
that
you.
Seth is still dressed like the masked man. So I'm like, is he a masked man? Or is he like a new age Shield? Like,
I
mm?
think he's just dressed with all black Thunderballs. I think this is his
Oh
thing
my
now.
god.
He actually looks he actually looks good in the black all black. I do agree with you. He's looking younger in the all black. He's looking more healthier. So maybe it's just the clothes that he's wearing. I just think it's that Thunderballs. We'll have to see. Like I say, thank God we're not doing this masked men no more. I don't feel like we need. There was no purpose with it, but I do agree with you. I thought that there was something else going to go on after this final boss. You there, final boss?
Yeah, I'm here. I was reading something.
You
I'm
got to say.
actually reading right now that
Oh,
apparently this is news to me. That
mm-hmm.
SmackDown actually had historic record lows for viewership.
Well, I agree. I think I'm not. That's not surprising. It was decent, but it hasn't hit that point yet. I mean, Raw's been just so good. You got, yes, I mean, I know we're gonna say it's because of the bloodline, but I love the AJ Lee stuff. I love I mean, so far, what's going on with Liv and Stephanie? I mean, they've been
I
brawling and
mean,
doing all type
But
of
Raw
different
has
stuff.
nothing to do with SmackDown. It's on two different days. I mean, that's the thing. There's different stars on there now. A lot of your stars are now on SmackDown. Think about it. Rhea Ripley is on SmackDown. Your Jade is on SmackDown. Your Charlotte Alexa, they've been on SmackDown. They had the
Mm-hmm.
Bella Twins. They're now on SmackDown. Um, Nia Jackson, Nia Jackson, Last Legend are on SmackDown. Then they had Jelly Roll, of course, on SmackDown. Randy Orton, who's doing all this good work, is on SmackDown. Now we didn't know that Cody was going to come back yesterday,
I
but we
think
know Cody,
it's
but we
still the
know
stories,
Cody
Final
is
Boss. I
on.
think it's Randy. Yeah, I think that's the
Okay.
only thing they're
We
interested
know
in.
Cody is, we know Cody is on SmackDown. So we know all of these stars are on SmackDown, even though we don't know their placements about if they're gonna, come that night or not. As far as like Cody, we knew Jelly Roll was advertised. We knew, we were gonna see Randy, and it was still record lows.
Yeah, yeah. I just think because it's the stories, Final Boss. I think the story's just better on Raw. I'm just being honest. Um, Speaking of the one of the probably maybe the one of the biggest stories, Final Boss, we're going to talk about the last Roman Reigns in CM Punk segment. Actually, this time Punk came out first. Punk came out first. He gave his promo saying, he wasn't mad because Roman called him old. He gave the whole details of why he wasn't bothered about being old. And actually, before he got really through with most of his promo, Jay Uso music hit Final Boss, which was really interesting. Um, when it hit, and you got a whole thing with him and Punk. Like, he asked Punk, "Can I get in the ring?" Punk told him, "Go ahead and get in the ring." They kind of got into a little back and forth on the mic, and he asked him like, "Do you want a match for the title?" Which was crazy. I was like, "Huh? What are we doing here?" So at first I thought they was gonna probably do that for a while because Roman wasn't there or something. I was like, "Where's Roman?" Um, a shot. You didn't get your rematch for the title, so do you want your shot? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then Jimmy came out and asked Jay, what are you doing? Leave him to the OTC, stuff like that. Then you still had Punk talking junk. Then it felt very old, like back in the day when Roman used to come out with him and Paul Heyman. His music hit. Roman came out, told Jimmy that hey, I'm gonna say this respectfully enough. Get your brother, and could you leave my ring? And he said that, and then Punk said something to Jimmy and Jay. Jay actually, hit Punk, and then Roman came, Superman punched him, and then took him outside of the ring. At first, no, he just Superman punched him, and he was about to get ready to leave. But Jimmy and Jay was outside the ring, and Jay was like, no, get him, smash them all. Remember who you is. And then it's just something snapped in Roman, and he just went berserk and started beating down Punk. Took him outside, put him through the announcer table, and just started beating him. It was a great beatdown. I think the story a lot of people are interested in is
but I was
Jimmy,
more.
Jay giving Roman the orders and Jay's going up. No, what
Yeah,
happened?
but I really like the part when Roman said respectfully, told Jimmy, take your brother and get out of my ring. I also like, the before that where, you have Jimmy kind of standing on the side of the ring entrance, backstage by gorilla position, and you have Punk about to walk past him to go out to the ring, and he's warning him about how Jay's upset with him. I kind of like all those elements, but it's kind of a weird story where initially we're like, oh, we just want to see the whole feud kind of go into an absolute explosion between CM Punk and Roman, but now it's kind of pivoting where yeah, that's the story, but like the biggest story is like Jay's involvement with Roman. Like it's very, very odd and
Exactly. It's
twisted, and I
weird.
like it. It has all these weird elements. It's like, do we really want to like now at first with that first promo? And by the way, you're breaking up, but with that first promo, you know, um, we really wanted to see just really Roman and Punk, when he said, hey, I don't want to, hey, I could fight you because hey, we're on the biggest show, you know, hey, because you have like the best title technically, from Roman's eyes. But I want to fight you because I hate you, and you bring a lot of history. So we really want to see Roman and Punk go at it. And now we're a few weeks in, and we're like, we still want to see that, but the biggest story to me is Jay's involvement. And it's weird, how
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
here. I mean, we knew we were gonna get somewhat here because remember we had that line, by CM Punk telling Roman Reigns, "I'm gonna bury you next to your father." We had Roman come out, you know, saying like, "Hey, Simone's gonna come. They're offended. They can come if they want to." So we kind of knew they were gonna bring in the whole family dynamic when Punk said that line. But now it's like, what's the the real biggest story? Is it Punk and Roman, or is it Roman and the Usos, right? And I kind of like all that idea, and it really kind of goes back to the bloodline because that was the crazy thing about the bloodline. It made the bloodline so great is that they had all these different stories mixed into one. We had Roman, being a tribal chief and him or people around who was going to turn on him, and what was Solo's involvement, what was Uso's involvement, where are they lying, and here comes The Rock, and is The Rock going to turn on Roman, or is he really here to help Roman because he really don't like, there isn't like Cody. Like there was all these different elements to the bloodline story. That's what made it so great. And here we are, you know, 2 years later, where it's kind of the same thing where we have all these different pieces to the story, and that's what makes it, so good. And that's how we can really kind of drag this out to WrestleMania and beyond WrestleMania for a little bit too, depending on where they go with it. And the thing is that after Monday's segment, after we got that great beatdown, like Mammy just said, he didn't just lay out Punk. Like Punk was on the announcers table laughing and said, "Hey, I'm not the one that needs the help. Roman is the one who needs the help. I'm not the one who needs the help." So it kind of goes back to the whole idea of,
Yeah,
hey, playing that
yeah.
again, like,
I know that
hey,
line.
Roman can't do it on his own. He needs to have a group behind him. So it's kind of plays into that story all over again, which technically he really didn't, because really Roman beat down Punk on his own, but at the direction of Jey Uso. So I kind of like that. That kind of like leads me into my theory, right? It leads me into, well, maybe the whole thing is maybe Jay is not going to turn. A lot of people saying, "Hey, Jay's going to turn." No, I think it's going to be Jimmy, because Jimmy's the one kind of standing in the corner, not really caring too much about how Jay is feeling. Kind of like he's caring, but he's not going berserk like how Jay is. Jay is a loose cannon. Um, so I don't know if it's gonna be like a
Well,
Jimmy turn,
well, is that because
or
Jay? Mm,
or or if it's gonna be more so there's not a turn, but not Jimmy, Jay is letting his emotions get such a hold of him where it's like he can't control himself, so he interferes in Roman's match and causes Roman. And you have Roman blaming Jimmy for not
I think
controlling his
I
brother.
think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what's going to happen. I think for me. I think the emotions of Jay could maybe cause Roman. It could, cause it seems like that's the story they're telling. Maybe I could be reading it into it wrong, but it was very weird that Jay's giving orders to Roman. I was like, I like this. I'm interested in it, and I'm still interested. Don't get me wrong. I'm still interested in the Pump match because of what you said there at the end. Punk said, "Hey, I don't need the help. He does." I was like, "Oh, that was a great line." Punk is really making this match be very interesting too. He's doing his part too. He's doing his part. I'm not gonna lie. I still, man, Punk is too confident. Where I'm believing that he could still walk out as champion final balls. Now, I'm not saying maybe The Rock is going to get involved because now this J thing is going on, but and it's crazy because we said this last week on DW Radio when LA Knight and Jimmy and Jay was in the back, and we heard that line where LA Knight told Jay, "Hey, you're acting like Roman," and what we see in the background, it was your husband, The Rock, in the background on the fucking bus. And I was like, "What are we doing here?" I was like, "Okay," and now we had got this where Jay was barking the orders to Roman. And I was like, huh. And like I said, that light switch went on, and we got that old school like Thunderdome Roman in this whole beatdown. And I was like, man, this story is very interesting. They can go a lot of different ways. I think the best thing that you pointed out is that they try to create a lot of different avenues. Is something sometimes don't go the certain way. They can always go. They can pivot without us. We can notice, but you won't probably really notice. You understand what I'm saying? I think I lost final boss.
No, I'm here. Um, but yeah, they can pivot different ways. And that's one of the things that makes a
Oh
bloodline story
wow, yep,
so.
I lost final boss.
Um, s- I'm here. Oh,
Aries,
he
he was
can't hear
here
me.
early.
You can't hear me?
Oh
Nope.
no, I
Okay.
hear you now.
Okay. Well, yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, I hear you now. You wasn't saying that at first. Did you hear what? No, did you hear
Yeah.
my question I had said to you?
Yeah. I heard you. And yes, they can go different ways with the storyline. That's one of the things that made the bloodline story so fascinating back, when we had it for 5 years. But and and credits out to them for doing the WWE because what one thing I will say is like, I'm like, how are we gonna make this story interesting where, we're not gonna have them get, have a match. We got all these weeks at that time, 8 weeks. Now we're down to like four now, but we had 8 weeks up into WrestleMania. How do we keep this still, fresh and good and interesting? Like how do we do that? And I think WWE has done a good job of them. Um, has done a good job keeping us interested. But hey, we got to move on.
No, we will. Let's move on to the. You want to cover SmackDown?
Oh, is there anything else about Raw that you really liked in Raw?
I mean, that was most of the main things that stuck out to me. I think we hit the high points. I mean, the like I say, the live itself, like Vaquer stuff is okay. It's not something
Yeah,
that is
I
catching my
think
eye.
Liv looks super great. She's definitely gaining muscle now. She's could have been training, so her match at WrestleMania should be pretty dang good. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of excited to see that. This is not really for the story, but really to see like the match itself. I'm kind of excited to see. Um, was there anything else that was of note? And Raw, you want to go to before we go to SmackDown, or
I can't think of nothing off the top of my head. I think we hit like most of the high points of the show of Raw. I mean, we could be missing something, but I think those like the biggest things that happened on Raw. I mean, yeah, you had a couple backstage stuff, but most of the show was centered around Jay Uso and Jimmy most of the day in the division. Most of the show. I mean, they was building that up pretty big. If you ask me, I mean, I could be looking at it wrong, but that's what I thought. But yeah, we'll move on to SmackDown real quick. Let's go ahead and go to SmackDown. Speaking of SmackDown, let's just go ahead and get into one of the things that really stuck out to me. We actually got General for the second time this week. He actually was Final Boss. I know she wants to say it, but I'm not gonna steal the thunder. But he was quite featured a lot on SmackDown. And he had his first singles match on SmackDown, which I do like. Hey, shouts out to General because most majority of the time you don't get a lot of celebrities that do matches on just a regular show. Usually you get them at PLEs. So shouts out to him. It was a decent match. It was against Kid Wilson. I can understand why he was there. He just could have been there for what we're going to talk about here for Randy at the end. But great match from General. Like I say, he had some great segments throughout the night. Really liked his match. He had a decent match, and we have to see what's next for General. It looks like he's going to be probably mostly involved with this Randy and Cody stuff. I don't know if they're going to probably do a guest referee. Never know. Could be. They haven't done that in a while. We've been talking about so much of Vince booking ass. I'm surprised they haven't done that. Now they did do it with Bianca, but I'm sorry, as far as like celebrity wise, I don't think they have done something like that in quite some time. I could be wrong, but that's just something I looked out for. Final Boss, you got any thoughts? If not, we will move on to our next topic.
yeah, I think J. Roll looked phenomenal. I said that not once but twice on my timeline. He looks great. Looks dim. Sorry, Din. He he was like, well, like Miami didn't want to say he was in all your segments, right? It's open, closing, in the middle. We got him. Yep. We got him having this kind of weird backstage comedy interaction, we know, with Damian Priest uh and our truth, our new tag team champions. We got Rhea when it, came up to him. We got uh our truth thinking that it's
Dominic.
it's Dominic and it's Dominic and not Jelly Roll and Rhea, and he goes, hey, you might not want to let Liv find out, and he's all confused. They have like a little good comedy banter back and forwards. um you have uh Jelly Roll giving Rhea his blessing, saying, hey, make sure you take out, make sure you take out Jade and get the title and whatever. um Not her, hey, you're Rhea Ripley. So we got that backstage, element. Of course, we had the match between Jelly Roll and Kit Wilson, where Jelly Roll looked great, Kit Wilson looked really slow. But like Miami has pointed out, like, hey, that was probably was deliberate to go ahead and give a celebrity, in this case Jelly Roll, the opportunity to deliver the
Look
moves,
good.
so that way it's not too fast paced where it's just he looks clunky, make him look strong. So I think Kit did a really good job of doing that. Of course, we got
Yes.
him again, and at the end with the whole thing with Randy Orton. So we got to see him throughout pretty much the entire episode of SmackDown, like we did the previous week. We saw that too, and it's kind of weird because here we go again, where we was like, well, if he's not gonna have a match at Mania, no, he had a match this week against Kit Wilson. They have like this ongoing feud. We heard about it last week where Kit Williams went on the mic and kind of trash talked them, and then we got this match for this week. But then he's also involved with the Randy Orton story. I'm like, why the hell is Jelly Roll here? It's weird. I mean, I guess the whole idea is he's not gonna have a match at WrestleMania. He's gonna have Randy Orton's gonna beat him down so bad where he's written off TV for a while. I mean, why is Jelly Roll involved with it? Like, it's weird. It kind of feels. At first, I kind of got it because, like, okay, everyone's trying to talk to Randy, like, hey, Randy, this is not you. What happened? But now here we are on the second week where Jelly Roll is getting involved once again. It's like, why? Like, oh, well, we're gonna, like, there's no way you're gonna, this is not like it's gonna be a tag team match. I mean, this is for a title. So there's no way that Jelly Roll is gonna get involved. I mean, hey, it's not like Jelly Roll is gonna be a three-way. He's not gonna be a champion unless the whole idea is to have Jelly Roll be at WrestleMania, but not to have a match, but to be there for Cody, and then he costs Randy the title. Um, or he's not there for Cody. He just comes out as being the good friend of Randy Orton again, trying to talk to him, and then he gets so you know preoccupied with him, it costs us in the title in the long run. I mean, I guess that's where they're going with this. If you're not going that direction, then why? But even if that is the case, I don't feel like that should be part of this WrestleMania. I feel like this it is kind of like a third wheel inside this case. I don't really like it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. He did get he got RKO at the end of the night, so I still think he might have some type of involvement as we go along. Let's go into another thing that was shocking. Our next topic. Sami Zayn answering the open challenge. If everyone doesn't know, Carmelo Hayes was doing open challenges, and Sami Zayn was the one to answer it. Came out, had a decent match, and he actually won it because Trick Williams did get some type of involved. I guess he was trying to cause Sami the match, but it didn't come out to be that way. Sami actually won, which I'm surprised. Became United States champion. Went in the back, told his orders, "Do I got a match now at WrestleMania?" He said, "Yes, your opponent will be Trick Williams." And we'll have Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn for the United States title. I think I forgot who said it. Who came out and said that Carmelo Hayes should
Wait,
be answering.
whoa, 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 whoa! Because remember, the backstage segment was not that. The backstage segment technically was Nick Ellis telling Nick Aldis telling Trick Williams,
But
"Hey
he's talking about the
man,"
first.
and Oh yeah,
yeah,
correct. Yeah, he was like, "Hey, I see, what you've been doing. The crowd loves you. You're gonna have a match at WrestleMania." Turns to Sami Zayn and said, "Well, we don't have a match for you at WrestleMania." But then I kind of thought that we were gonna get the Tongas to come out there because you saw Carmelo walk past and say, "Hey, are you gonna come out and challenge for this title, or are you gonna have to go ahead and ask for
yeah,
permission?" And then he came
yeah,
out and
yeah.
had the open call. So it was very odd to kind of put that in
Mm-hmm.
there. And instead, of course, we got Sami Zayn answers the call. Of course, he came out victorious. And now we're gonna have Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams at WrestleMania, which is great for Sami Zayn. He's now going to have a chance to he will be at WrestleMania with, of course, the title. Now Trick Williams will be also at WrestleMania and having a title shot at WrestleMania. The only thing is that it pushed away the story we were getting with Sami, where he was kind of like conflicted and in his head and kind of going crazy backstage. We're not getting that now. Now he's a champion now, unless it's a piece of it, where he loses to Trick Williams and he just go absolutely berserk now and beats him down afterwards. I don't know. But yeah, it kind of feels like we're drifting away from that original plan for Sami, and that was a plan I actually was pretty interested in.
Yeah, it feels like it was rushed final boss. I'm not gonna lie to you. It felt like it was a rushed decision. I feel bad for Carmelo Hayes because he's been doing a great job with this title. I think someone else said add Dragunov to it because I think Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes has great chemistry together. I wouldn't mind seeing it be like a 4-way match between those guys. Like I said, it just was weird that they did it like this, and next thing you know, and I love Trick Williams. I'm glad he got a match. I really felt like they could have did without the title final boss. I just felt like because they was building this story where Sami and Trick was having these problems anyway, I think they just could have had a regular match. I'm just quite surprised that it's now for the title. I think that was one of the main things that really like stuck out to me. But we'll have to see. Like I say, we still have 3 weeks. We'll have to see where it goes from here, final boss. But let's move on to our next topic. We got another backstage. We were speaking about backstage segments. We actually got a backstage segment with Solo Sikoa. He apologized from last week to the MFT, his group, My Family Tree. I'm saying that he was sorry. He was tough on them. Wants to see them succeed. He wants things, and I'm so glad they're moving away from the wise. Thank God. Jesus Christ. And look at God. But he was just basically telling them, like, why the reason he been so hard on them and stuff. And he said, sorry. He said, I apologize because, I've been doing all these things. But he said, that's something, he said, I apologize, but that's something that Roman would have never did. And the group looked at him with and I was like, it seems like that time Solo and them and his group and with Roman too. I don't know where they have a part with this whole thing that's going on with the Jimmy and Jay and Punk thing, but I did find that quite interesting. They kind of tied that in there. After that, they walked off. You had Shinsuke Nakamura come up to Tamatonga and say something in Japanese with him. But this time, his older brother came back and asked him was he good, and they walked off. So I did find that interesting that the oldest came back and got the Tonga, and then they walked off. So it's still maybe they're still probably tying some stuff with even just Solo too with Roman. I could be mistaken, but I'm just glad that we have moved away from the Wise and we're just gonna go somewhere else with the MFT because man, they kept doing that Y6 and MFT thing a little too much and it was burning out. But I did like the segment. It was a pretty good segment. It does have me wondering if they're gonna go somewhere with it, Final Boss. Do you have any thoughts about this Solo apologizing to the MFT?
I mean, yeah. I think there's a little missing element that we're missing where, yeah, somehow Solo is going to be involved with the story with Jay, Roman, and Punk. We don't know into what and like and into what regards really. It's a little bit tougher because they're on two different shows, so we're not seeing the interaction, but they're planting them seeds there. But I don't think the seeds have anything to do with WrestleMania. I think the seeds have to do more so with what happens after WrestleMania. I think that's when we're gonna see um everything with Solo kind of play a role into it.
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, it's really interesting that Solo said that at the end. So I'm just wondering, are they any seeds to, have the MFT be some type of involved in the story later on down the line? After Mania, because like I said, they do need stuff for after Mania. We'll have to see. But I did like it. Great outcome for them. Let's get into the Jade and Rhea stuff. I know you said you're not too invested with it, but I'm kind of like I'm a little more interested in it than I was before because Rhea did come
Hmm.
out. She came out, did a promo, told Jade and Michin and B-Fab to come out because she said she was surprised about
Yeah, because
B-Fab.
they've been feuding. But that was just lazy booking by WWE. That was just a way to have WWE, hey, because remember they've been having issues. B-Fab and me, Kim have issues with Jay, and all of a sudden they align themselves with it. And we got Michael Cole was saying that on commentary last week. Well, I don't know. Was it Michael Cole or was it Corey Graves? I don't remember. But it was said
I think it was scary.
Okay, but yeah, it might have been, but yeah, was saying that last week on commentary, like, hey, these are girls who had issues with Jade, and they aligned themselves with Jade. But it was a way of making it make sense, quick, easy, lazy looking by saying, hey, you have B-Fab who did a really great job on the mics, like give her flowers, looked really great as well. Saying, hey, why wouldn't we align ourselves with Jay? Jay. I mean, Jay has the power. Jay has the championship.
Mm-hmm.
But does that mean that if Jay loses, that they're gonna turn on Jay? See, there's so many pieces
I
to
don't
that
know.
now.
It was very interesting that line was in there. So I was like, huh, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I did catch that too, though, Final Boss. But to be honest,
Hmm.
I don't think Jay's going to lose because that line was in there. But I think later on down the line, she would drop it, and then the team would turn on her because you want to first build up this group. Like I say, I just wanted it to be B-Fab and Jay. The B-Chan, she does add more flavor to it because she's doing real well on the mic. I think more of her was my confusion of her joining Jay. Now B-Fab, I can quite understand because you could have told the story where Jay kind of manipulated B-Fab into joining this group or wanting to be with this group. Um, I think that could have been the story. The Me Chin part was maybe more of the part that had me kind of wondering why she was there, but you did see on her X page that she was saying, well, one of the reasons why she did do this turn because Rhea went back when she was with Judgment Day, attacked AJ Styles, which was a story I kind of forgot. And I'm not gonna lie, I do like for so far I'm liking Hill B Chin. It's fitting her well. B-Fab is fitting her well. I mean, I kind of sort of like this group so far. I think they need to keep letting it grow. We're still 3 weeks away. I think there'll be teasers there. That it's just the thing right now with me is that they're billing Jay so strong. Yes, she does have the numbers, but it kind of has me worried of maybe Rhea still get the best of her. Maybe the group will try to help her and there'll be a mistake in there, and then you get some type of way where Michin and B-Fab tries to help Jade, and it doesn't. They don't hit her, but it's sort of way it costs her to lose the title. But I do agree with you, Final Boss, that if she loses this title, do they turn on her, or do you start playing those seeds where you have that dissension, like, hey, she doesn't have that same power, that same she doesn't have the goal. I feel like right after this, they need to just start, if they do keep the title on Jade, they need to book her strong. I hate saying it, but hey, AEW did real well when she was the TNA champion. They gotta take a book out of AEW's pace and build Jade like that, man. I think just have her have regular matches where you got B-Fab and Michin just there, even though if they're just there to just cause distractions or cut promos. You now have another tag team that can go after the tag team titles, which I was saying that WWE needs to do. Let's get some new girls in here. Especially if you are going to maybe put it on the Bellas. I don't know if the Bellas are going to be on SmackDown more, but you have B-Fab and Michin that you can go for the titles. It seems like they want to do Jillian and the young lady that's with as a tag team, but I think it says Jillian has the title. I wouldn't be surprised if they was probably gonna somewhere down the line put it on the Juggernaut Jordan Grace. I wouldn't mind seeing that if they was going to go that direction. I don't know. It just seems like sometimes they do seem like they forget that Jillian is the champion. But I'm liking this group so far. It does have some sort of potential. I don't want to jinx it because I jinxed MLT and we went off to a whole wide 6 roll and I was like, oh my God. But now it seems like we're kind of getting some steam back on this and we're going to get another story with them. And I'm interested with just MLT, but I like this J group. I want them to keep the title on her because I want to see this group kind of develop. I wouldn't mind seeing Michin and B-Fab being champions while Jade is being champions. I don't think we've got there yet. I can't think of no one where we actually got 2 women that was the tag champions and the one champion, the women was the women's champion at the same time. It worked for Roman and the Usos. I think if they book it right and they do it right, they have to still book Jade very correctly and very right. Even B-Fab and Michin too. Like I said, they've been doing great for promos as heels. I think it fits them very perfect, especially B-Fab. We know B-Fab is a sweet young lady personally, but this heel character is fitting her to a T. They're all looking good, especially B-Fab. She always looked good. But this heel character is making her look even better. I think this will push B-Fab. I think this is really helping because we know Michin is the vet. I think this is helping B-Fab become a star once she gets by herself. We see what happens with Maxine Dupree, which we didn't see her this Monday. I'm just wondering what they're going to do. I don't hope they didn't forget about what happened in the background between her and the Vision. I'm just suspecting that they do follow up on that. But this could be really great for these young ladies. I feel like this whole thing is to get B-Fab to be that next person. Even if she's just a mid-card, she'll be that star. I think that's the thing. I think they're going to do what they did with Maxine. They're going to do with B-Fab. And B-Fab is decent. She was actually decent before Maxine Dupree, but Maxine Dupree has got better. You can have matches where Maxine and B-Fab, they are the next future. I mean, come on. Why not? I think both of these ladies could be the future for you if they book it right. WWE has to look at that, and they have to book it the right way. We will actually move to our last and final topic for today. that just was my thoughts about Jade, Cargill, and Michin. But before we get to our last topic, let's do a few shouts out. We did put it up. If you guys did want to do a call in before we get off of air. But before we get off of air, please go to Miami the Great on X, my X page, Miami the Great 305 on X. Please follow my co-host, Final Boss Baby. That's 2 B's, 1 Y. CFO, that's Final Boss Baby, CFO on X. Please give her a follow on X. Please give the Talk It Up podcast page a follow. And if you are live on with us on X, on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment on YouTube, leave your comments about your thoughts about this podcast, this episode. What are your thoughts? Leave a comment, subscribe to us on Talk It Up podcast, and please give us a follow on Twitch. We're on Twitch, guys. Go over there on Twitch. Catch us on Twitch. That's DWE Radio on Twitch. And also, every episode will be available to you on Spotify. That's DWE Radio on Spotify. If you can't find the link is in my bio. You can catch it on Spotify. All the links are there. But let's go down to the comments real quick. We'll read the comments before we get to our last topic. Aries actually said that I had a vision of Bianca and Io taking out Jade's crew and Rhea winning the title. Seth, the masked man, will cause Randy. And also, I had a vision that Sami versus Trick versus Melo versus JC. That's not a bad idea. I would Bianca and Io, I can see it. I don't think Bianca's gonna be back no time soon. I know she is back training. I don't think she'll be back before 3 weeks. Io, maybe, but I think they'll still be down one person. But sometimes they do that funky, tricky thing where 2 people can take on 3. You never know something. The third person can get took out, and it's 2 people. We never know. I like Io being by herself for a while. I know we missed the Io and Rhea thing, but I think Rhea is there to freshen up SmackDown. They do need a new face, and they do need someone new. But I do like that idea. Aries, great you, Aries, with that whole idea. I mean, if that's the way you will book it, I mean, why not? Let's go to your last comment. You said, by the way, Miami, how about we do a fatal 5-way for the United States title match? I would add Kit Wilson also would be a possibility. You said something about a tag match. You said a tag match for the WWE tagging with someone, or you got Kid Wilson in this fatal 5-way? Because you said also will be a possibility of a tag match for WWE for the WWE tag titles championship. Who you actually have in that championship, Aries? I would like to know if you are still in here. I would love to hear the thoughts about that. For the tag match. Kit Wilson, I mean, yeah, he's over, but I think they got Kit Wilson in this thing with him and the Miz. They could do a tag match with him and Miz tag together later on down the line. I can see him doing that. They usually do stuff like that. Kit, he hasn't been around the title. I mean, they could throw him in there to be an extra body if they want to throw him in there. I just feel like Melo does definitely need to be added. Now, if they want to throw Dragunov in there, I wouldn't mind, because I feel like Melo and Dragunov do have great chemistry. I think it could be a great match. You got Trick Williams, Melo, Dragunov, and Sami. I think they can tear down the house. I think that could be a match where the crowd can wake up. If you want to wake them up, it could be one of your wake up matches to wake them up. Just have maybe some match where in the middle, if the crowd gets quiet, you can bring them back and get them pumped up. But let's go ahead and let's get to our last topic of the day, guys. Like I say, thank you guys for coming to DW Radio, the radios that's now on the radio. We're going to get into the topic. Who was the person that the person on the phone with Randy is coming? Because Randy did say on the phone before he came out to do the match between him and Matt Cardona is that he said, "Hey, I'll see you soon." And I had a theory. I was thinking, well, maybe he's going to show up at Mania. And I did tell Final Boss this. At first, I was like, we was listening out for all these names, everyone. And I was like, you know what? There was a name that I don't, maybe someone said it, but I think a name I really haven't heard a lot. And I was like, one of his Arn Anderson. And Final Boss was like, well, I don't think so because, Randy keeps saying, Legacy Arn doesn't have kids. As far as I know, he doesn't have kids, and rest as far as I know, he might do. But I was like, well, my theory was because I said Arn Anderson because he did manage Cody. You got to think about it. Randy's mentor Cody, and if they do want to go that heel route or maybe start pushing Cody or start giving it a tease, is that you could do maybe him because that can have Cody like, man, okay, I had my mentor turn on me. I had also my the person who used to manage me turn on me, and just start questioning Seth and just get really frustrated with itself. I think that's something they could do. That's the direction they could do. But it could be Flair. It still could be Flair. I don't think it is. Thunderball still thinks it is Ted DiBiase Jr. It could be. I was saying it could be his dad. But I don't think so. I think that was just another throw off, another way to just throw us off the scent. It was just too obvious that Ted DiBiase was doing this interview. He was on YouTube saying he was on the phone with Randy. So I was like, oh, well, that disqualifies that theory. But whoever it is, it's going to be someone either we don't suspect or some of the names we have been hitting. Now it could be Randy's dad because he did say Legacy. So that's out there. But I can't think of no one else. Who else it could be out there, especially if it's like someone who we're not thinking. I'm thinking of people who was back in the day with Randy who could do this with Randy, but I can't think of no one off the top of my head. Now, it could be some of the legends that Randy used to take out back in the day, but there's not that many legends that are still around that you could put into this that you could sit side by Randy. I think they will probably go young. That's why I think a lot of people think Ted DiBiase Jr. But I don't know. It's very interesting how they go with this story. Who's on this phone with Randy? Because Randy's been really showing a great job of being a heel. I love his promos lately that Randy's been doing. He's doing a great job. The match between him and Matt Cardona, it was pretty decent. But we did the return of Cody. Him and Cody did the, usual brawl. And that's the RKO of Jelly Roll at the end, which, what I'm saying. And Randy did make a great point. Randy keeps saying, and this is true. I guess Randy was watching Busted Open because I seen Busted Open said that shouts out to them. Got to give him that credit. Saying, hey, you asked. He told in his promo, he said, Cody asked me to listen to the voices in my head. Cody told me to be like this, and I put those voices away, and I was happy, but this is what you say you want. And that's true. That is true. That's why another reason I picked this card this topic, not just because of Randy and Cody, because of Punk and Roman. You know, your words cannot save you now, because now you got Roman, the light on switch. He beats Punk down. Now, because now, you know, it's now sinking in that Roman, you know, Punk has said all these things, and you know, ain't no turning back for what you said. So your words cannot save you now. You know, your words can't. You know, you can apologize, you can do all this, but it's not gonna save you now. I gotta give you this beat down. But I feel like the same thing with Randy. Cody did ask Randy to become this person. Now, and I think this topic has more to do with Cody than it does with anyone, because now your words cannot save you, because look, you've opened Pandora's box. That's what Randy's saying, and now there's no way to close it. There's no going back to the old Randy, even though you have General saying that, hey, this is not the Randy we know. This is not the Randy that, you know, we've seen over the years, which we haven't. This is a Randy that I know people are saying that it's Legend Killer Randy, but I feel like it's a little better. I think it's went to another. He's elevated even more. It's sort of like what The Rock did with his Final Boss character. I'm getting that with Randy, and it's great when you have these vets, that guys have been doing it for so long, that they can take one of their old characters and mix it into their character now, and even make it even elevate. Well, yeah, you're getting that sense of that old character, but you do feel another level to what they're doing. I think that's something that Randy's doing here. I still have Randy winning the title. If you ask me, I don't think they're going to go no other way, because he's really doing well. I would love to see him with the title, especially if he gets the title and we get this reveal. Hopefully we do. I just don't know who it could be. If it's not some of the people that we listed, will we get surprised? Maybe so. It's WWE. It'll be probably someone we never guessed that comes out, and I'm trying to think of someone of who that could be. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one key thing that sticks out to me. Like, what's the wild theory that it could be? And we've seen some of the stuff that they said where they did the wild card, and some of the wild cards I don't think would even happen. So that's just something that's just my thoughts on everything, my final thoughts on everything. I was trying to prolong it as much as I can. I don't know if Final Boss will be back here, because I did want to get her thoughts about the Randy thing. She probably had to step away real quick and take with her. But other than that, Raw was actually, I'm not gonna lie, Raw once again was an A. It's an A. I wouldn't put an A plus, but it was an A for me. SmackDown, I would give it a C plus. It's getting better, but it's not there yet. I can't tell you what's missing, but it actually it's going to the right direction, and that's good. It's a little better than what it's been. Shouts out to the credit of the wrestlers that are trying to make it become that. But other than that, guys, we thank you guys for coming. You guys can catch us tomorrow on my page or the Talk It Up page. After Sam will actually come on earlier. He will come on around 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm pretty sure he has a show going on Sunday coming, and then right after that, 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you get EVP Scoops, where you get all the scoops and details of what's going to go on at in WWE. Scoops are like, if you want to know some spoilers, you can go on to that on Sunday. Monday, we will be back for EVP show again. That will come on at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, where he does the Raw recaps on for Raw. And then Tuesday, you can catch me, guys. I will be doing my Inside the NFL Mind of Miami. Most of the time, I'm over there talking about NFL all season. We're doing mock drafts right now, all the way up to when the draft comes. We're using Underdog mock draft. Shouts out to them for liking my post. Actually, one of my shorts that I had that I didn't tag them in, they just came on and liked it, but I guess they seen it. So shouts out to them. So we will actually keep using their Tuesday. It's something that I really love. If you like sports, come on and join me on Tuesday. And we don't have nothing on Wednesday. And then I'm back again Thursday. Well, no, actually we do have something Wednesday. My bad. We have CJ's prediction, NXT predictions for Stand and Deliver. So you get to come and join him because actually we do have something on Wednesday where he will be doing Stand and Deliver on Wednesday. I don't know the exact time because I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I'm pretty sure probably around 6 o'clock maybe. I think it's like around 6. I know it's pretty early. On Wednesday, then Thursday, you will get me first at 6 o'clock p.m. I will be back again for Inside the Mind, the inside of the NFL Mind of Miami. And then you will get later on that night, CJ will do his TNA recaps. Then Friday, you will get CJ again for SmackDown recaps. And then Saturday, he will do NXT recaps for Stand and Deliver. So that's basically our schedule, guys. Like I say, just if you don't know when we go on and you can't keep up with the schedule, just put me on notification, follow me, or follow the Talk It Up page. But most likely, everyone goes live on my page. Follow me on X. That's Miami the Great 305. And please just support all the shows that we have. Please come in, share with friends, tell friends about us. That's the only way we will grow. And that's the only way we will this will become bigger and we can keep doing this. We can't do this without you guys. Thank you guys for 232 people that are here with us. Thanks to everyone who shared and promoted the live. Thanks. Shouts out to everyone who did it. Shouts out to everyone in DWE. And shouts out to Final Boss. She's not here, but hey, shouts out to her. So please give her a follow. That's Final Boss Baby 2Bs 1Y CFO. Final Boss Baby CFO on X2. Other than that, guys, we will definitely catch you guys next Saturday. We'll definitely have probably some more to talk about. If something else bigger happens, that's just all we have for now. And we'll catch you guys later. We're gonna get out of here, guys. I'm gonna close it out. See you guys later. I haven't done one of these in a while. Let's do a quote for today. I think the quote for today will be for the DWE radio quote for today from Miami will be, don't let no one tell you that you can't achieve nothing. I think you will always prove that no matter what. There's nothing wrong with being an underdog. There's nothing wrong with someone telling you can't do it because that's supposed to motivate you, push you, never quit. And never tell no one, don't let no one tell you you can't do something because you can. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. And just do it. Other than that, guys, we will catch you guys later. We're right at the 2 hour and 40 mark. So, hey, we'll beat our time again. We're not at 3 hours. If Final Boss comes back, guess what? I will not be here. She will be in the studio by herself. I'm your boss. I'm your goddamn boss. And always remember, there's only one WWE. And guess what? We're the ones who's put up your wands and respect the legacy that DWE has. We're almost coming up to 1 year of Talk It Up. It's only been a year, guys. DWE radio has not even hit a year. But guess what? We could not do this without you guys. We'll probably do something special for the Talk It Up page on YouTube, the YouTube Talk It Up page. It's coming up to a year, guys. We got 2 more months, and it'll be 1 year where we actually did our first live on YouTube. So we'll probably do something special for that. So catch you guys then. Like I say, keep us on notification for everything that we will do, all the events we have. Thank you guys, and we